She had been laughing with her family just hours before, taking photographs, recording small moments, quietly holding onto the news of a job interview she was not yet ready to share. And then, at a train platform in Oakland, California, on a Sunday night in July, everything shifted. No argument, no warning, just a man moving toward her, and in seconds, 18-year-old Nia Wilson was gone. Her sister dropped to her knees on the platform and pressed her hand against the wound. "I got you, baby. I got you." It was not enough. Nothing would have been. And the question that followed has never had a satisfying answer. Why? Welcome to Cold Case Vault. Subscribe, drop a comment, and hit the like button so more people find stories like this one. Before she became a headline, Nia Wilson was the youngest of 9 children, 6 sisters, 2 brothers, and the kind of person a family leans on without quite realizing it. People called her PG, short for Pretty Girl. She was creative, expressive, known for her makeup and the way she carried herself. After graduating from Oakland High School, she was working at a clothing distribution center while weighing her options: the military, paramedic training, criminal justice. She also performed music with her cousins in a group called Girls in the Hood, building something from the ground up. But what stayed with people was what she did when someone else needed her. At a family gathering not long before her death, her aunt began choking. Nia stepped forward without hesitation and performed the Heimlich maneuver. Years earlier, after her high school boyfriend drowned unexpectedly in 2016, she attended a vigil in his memory. While she was there, a young woman named Regina Jeff was shot in the neck and collapsed beside her. Regina asked Nia to stay. Nia stayed, right there beside her until paramedics came. Regina did not survive, but she did not die alone because Nia Wilson refused to leave. Sunday, July 22nd, 2018. The day started with family, a pool gathering in Concord with her sisters Latifah and Tashaya. Their aunt was battling stage 4 cancer, which gave time together a different kind of meaning. But that afternoon was warm and unhurried, and Nia moved through it the way she always did, laughing, taking pictures, bouncing between conversations. She had mentioned a job interview coming up that month, but kept the details close. She wanted to share it when it was real. As evening fell, their ride home canceled. The sisters decided to take the Bay Area Rapid Transit back to Oakland instead. Nia disliked BART. Her sister said she avoided it whenever she could, but they were together, and it was only one transfer away. Around 9 that evening, a family member dropped them at Concord Station. Latifah called their father from the train to say they were almost home. Shortly after 9:30, they pulled into MacArthur Station to transfer. The doors opened. Tashaya stepped forward. Nia and Latifah paused to let a woman with a stroller pass through, a small, ordinary courtesy. Then Tashaya heard something behind her and turned. Nia came stumbling through the train doors, bleeding, pressing her hand to her neck. Latifah had also been cut. The doors closed in the confusion, then reopened. Tashaya ran onto the platform, screaming for help. Nia collapsed. Latifah knelt beside her and pressed a blanket, passed over by the woman they had just let through, against the wound. As everything unraveled around them, Nia kept calling out her sister's name. "Tifa, Tifa, Tifa." Latifah answered, "I love you. I got you." When Latifah looked up, a man stood on the nearby steps wiping blood from a blade. Then he walked away. Paramedics arrived within minutes, but the wound was too severe. Nia Wilson was pronounced dead on the platform. She was 18 years old. BART stations operate continuous high-definition surveillance, and investigators moved immediately. Footage from Concord Station, the train itself, and MacArthur Station placed a single man in proximity to the sisters for at least 30 minutes before the attack. After leaving the scene, cameras tracked him discarding a backpack and sweatshirt nearby. Inside the bag was identification belonging to John Lee Cowell. 4 days earlier, he had been stopped for fare evasion, an encounter captured on body camera, giving investigators a clear image. Within 24 hours, a manhunt was active. The following day, a rider on the train spotted him by a distinctive tattoo and called it in. Officers located Cowell at Pleasant Hill Station and took him into custody without incident. He was charged with murder and attempted murder. Cowell's family revealed that he had lived with bipolar disorder and schizophrenia for most of his life and had been released from a state mental health facility just 2 months before the attack, with no housing, no treatment, and no support structure in place. His record stretched back to age 18. Assault, battery, drug offenses, and a 2016 armed robbery that resulted in 2 years in state prison. When that history surfaced, it deepened the community's outrage. With no stated motive and 2 young black women as victims, many believe the attack had been racially driven, a conclusion the evidence did not prove, but that felt impossible for many to set aside. In February of 2020, the trial began. Prosecutors centered their case on the surveillance footage, arguing that a man who tracked 2 people for half an hour before striking had made a deliberate choice. The defense argued that Cowell's psychiatric history meant he lacked full control of his conduct. In March of 2020, the jury returned its verdict: guilty of first-degree murder, guilty of premeditated attempted murder. The court agreed. What happened on that platform was not impulsive. It was intentional. Even with the conviction on record, the question that opened this case was never truly answered. Why Nia? There was no prior connection, no confrontation, no logic proportionate to what was taken. And perhaps that is what makes this story so difficult to sit with, because sometimes there is no reason large enough to justify the loss. What was taken was a young woman who stayed beside a dying stranger at a vigil, who stepped in at a family gathering when no one else moved, who had a job interview she was keeping quietly to herself, waiting for the right moment. At 18, she had far more road ahead of her than behind her. And in a few seconds on a Sunday night, that road ended. Her name is still being said. Her community still carries her. And that, in itself, is a kind of testimony. May Nia Wilson rest in peace.